I wanted to make a quick ornament for some friends and family that I could give them for Krampusnacht coming up on December 5th. So I got some vinyl cardstock and some monster clay and just started sculpting out Krampus's face. Now, monster clay is soft when heated, and then as it cools, it becomes more rigid and allows you to carve in all the various features that you might want to have in your ornament. As you cut and scrape the features into the clay, you'll have little bits of sort of messy clay, and isopropyl alcohol will smooth out any mistakes that you might make in order to give it a more finished look. I built a dam out of more of the clay, and then I hot glued the edge so that I could try to figure out how much silicone I would need in order to be able to mold the ornament. I'm pouring in water, and then I'm pumping that back out into some solo cups in order to be able to use my kitchen scale to be able to weigh and determine the amount of silicone product that I need to pour in to create our mold. Both the resin and silicone that I use in this project are a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning that it just takes equal parts of two different bottles. So once I have my silicone mixed, I brush on the first layer in order to try to avoid air bubbles from forming, and then slowly pour that into the corner of the mold in order to be able to, again, try to avoid as many air bubbles as possible. Once it's had an opportunity to cure, I was able to remove the dam and put it back into the vat of monster clay, and I'll be able to heat that up and use it again over and over again for many, many other projects. This sculpture came out relatively easy. The only difficulty was the horns, that I just cut the back of the mold in order to permit the horns to slide out of the sides. And then I used a stiff bristled brush to try to brush out as much of the dust, little bits of clay that were in the mold, and clean it up as best I could. After repeating this step inside this mold, measuring out the water once more to figure out how much resin I would need, I mixed that up, and then I started pouring in the resin into the mold for our first pool of the ornament. Now, I'd say that if I had a pressure pot, this would be much better. I did end up with quite a few bubbles throughout the sculpture. However, I was able to fill them in with some different various bits of paint. I would say that, if you had a missing horn tip or something like that, where you had a large air bubble, I've just used epoxy sculptor to finish off that area. We were ready to start painting. I primed it out in some flat black. I allowed that to dry, and then started using some references to paint the various colors on my Krampus. You could use some crepe hair, or just get really creative with it. And I think these skills are really applicable to any kind of ornament you might want to make during this season. So I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments. Like and follow along for more, and happy haunting.